Hi, welcome back. We're now on the back of this sheet and we are looking at the next question. So it says a 40-foot long support wire. Okay, so we know that this support wire is 40 feet long. So we're filling that number in on the picture. Then it says for a wire the wire for a 14-foot street light. So we know our street light is 14 feet. Now it says, based on the building to a point on the ground forming a straight line, the length of the wire from the top of the building to the top of the street light. So from the top of the building here to the top of the street light. So they're talking about this distance is 7. Okay, so I got to write 7 there because from the top of the building here to the top of the street light is 7. How tall is the building? Round to the nearest foot. So that would just mean no decimals. Okay, so when I round, I'm just going to have no decimals. So it says, how tall is the building? So we make X what we don't know. So if we don't know the building, then that's what we have to make X. So I'm going to go over here and make this height of this building X. And I notice I have a mommy and a baby. There's two 90-degree angles here, and they both share that angle. So because of angle-angle similarity, these sides should make the same ratio. So let's break this down a little bit. If this is 7, I'm thinking that this distance would have to be 33. Okay, now it's not really to scale, but if this is in fact 7, this would have to be 33. And so that gives me 2 dimensions for the baby. I'm going to just redraw the baby over here. We know the baby's side is 14 and the hypotenuse is 33. So we have 2 dimensions for the baby, and we can put that on our picture. Now for the mom. So let's compare that with the mom. We know mom's hypotenuse is 40, and the building, her side, we're going to call X. And so now we should be able to set up a ratio pretty easily. Just order the sides least to greatest. I got to make sure I write down the right numbers. So 14 and 33, 14 and 33, and X and 40. So I'm going to cross multiply to solve. Okay, so I've kind of ran out of room, so I'm going to scoot it over here. Recopy the question. 14 over X should equal 33 over 40. And I'm going to cross multiply to solve. So 33x, 14 times 40. Sorry about that. So I get 16.96 repeating. So they said round this to the nearest foot, so it appears that it would be 17 feet. Now, of course, go back and make sure that nothing weird happens. So if I plug in 17 here, I just look at the numbers and say, oh, okay, so this looks less than half, and this looks less than half. That looks pretty reasonable that would be, the building would be 17 feet high. Given this patterning, and we like it. We move to the next one. All right, now this one's a mirror problem, a classic problem of mirrors, and that means that if it is a mirror, the angle bounces off the mirror, and that's the same angle, and we know that a pole and Charlene stand 90 degrees to the ground. So this is similar because of angle-angle. So now I'm just going to line up my sides least to greatest, and they've already labeled everything for me. So Charlene is 4.8 feet high, and she's standing 3.5 feet from the mirror. And the pool, we don't know how high it is, so we made X what we don't know. And the distance from the mirror to the pool is 15 feet. So we're just going to order the sides least to greatest, 3.5 and 4.8. And then order these sides least to greatest. It does appear that the bottoms are smaller than the sides, so I'm going to put that 15 and X. And we will cross multiply to solve. So I get x is equal to 20.571, and it keeps going. And it says, please find the height of the pole to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to round that, and I see the tens place is the 5, but because there's a 7 there, I got to round up 20.6 feet. Pretty cool. All right, next one. Uh-oh. Here's what we've been waiting for. They didn't draw a picture, so I'm betting it's a mommy and a baby. Now, a building, here's a building. It says an 80-foot tall building casts a really big shadow. So that sounds like my mommy. So an 80-foot building casts a 192-foot shadow. And so shadows live on the ground. So the sun's probably up here somewhere. I'll just make a picture of a sun. Okay. Now, Sarah. Now, Sarah could be standing and lining up her shadows. That's one kind of cool trick. But she also could be standing over here or over here. So I'm going to have her stand over here. And we know that Sarah and the building stand 90 degrees from the ground. And we know that wherever the sun is in the sky would make the same angle with the sun's beams. So the question says, how tall is Sarah? So we have to make Sarah's height x because we don't know it. So that's what we're going to make x. So this is Sarah standing here, and it says her shadow is 14 feet long. Okay, so we know that the building, that the shadow is longer than the building, so we would assume this would be Sarah's height is shorter than the building. We also know that people are normally less than 14 feet tall. So I'm going to order the sides least to greatest. X and 14, 80, and 192. And we'll cross multiply to solve. So I'll move the problem over here. So I got 192 x, and I got 80 times 14. All right, so x is 5 foot, so she's almost 6 foot tall. And it says round to the nearest tenth. So once again, the 8 is in the tenths place, and the 3 would make me not round that up. So that would be 5.8 feet. That's how tall Sarah is. Okay, now in class, if we got a chance, notice that this mid-segment is a special situation where the mommy and the baby are exactly twice as big. So see this patterning here? The baby is 26 on the left, 35 on the right. The mom is double that. She's, if I add these up, she's 52 on the left and she's 70 on the right. So notice mom is twice as big. That's why we know that the bottom of baby has to be 2 times bigger. So the bottom of baby has to be half of that. So we can set that up. 2 times 6x minus 6 has to equal the bottom of mom because that's what mid-segment means. This segment cut that in half. Okay, so 4x plus 4. And so now we're going to distribute this 12x minus 12, 4x plus 4. Cool. So let's get all the x's on one side. Okay, now here's the tricky part, and I don't know if I showed you this. The question actually says, find the length of the mid-segment. Well, this is the mid-segment right here. So if I have to find the length of that mid-segment, I technically need to plug this back in. So the mid-segment is 6x minus 6, and we've solved the mystery of the x. We know x is 2, so 6 times 2 minus 6 would tell me the length of the mid-segment. So that would be 12 minus 6, which would be 6. So the length of the mid-segment is 6. Catch up the next video to finish out 10 and 11.